Greetings, tube your neighbors and tube your brothers and sisters. I'm going to do a little Wierd Wednesday thing for y'all. And I guess we'll start off by, this is the story hat. When the grandkids were living with us, that one bunch of grandkids, there's two different bunches. They were living with us, and they were all little bitty kids. And I don't know how to be a daddy or anything. I'm just barely learning how to be a grandpa. Hope I'm doing a good job. I sat them all in a circle in the floor, and they crossed their legs like little Indians. I put a little lantern. It's an electric lantern. It had a little flickering light. And turned the lights down low and stuff. And I brought this hat out, and I said, "This is a story hat." I said, whoever you put it on has to tell us a story. And so it's kind of like a campfire story thing. So we tossed it around on everybody's little heads, and they told her some really cute little stories. And then I told a story about, having a whole passel full of wonderful grandkids and things. And they enjoyed it. And now they're all big and growed, or nearly growed. And I just wonder how much stuff like that will pass on. And I guess it's not for me to know, but the things I can think of and come up with that I thought I'd like when I was a youngster, I tried to share it with these little kids and these older kids now. But that's all I could do is to do that, since I didn't have any training like that. Okay, Wierd Wednesday. I'll tell you a couple things that's going on. The things that are weird to me is probably either super weird to y'all or not weird at all. And a lot of things that I think are normal would probably shock y'all, or think it's weird of me not to think that it's weird of them or weird of it. So that's weird in itself. So, weird story number one. We're in the Jeep. This is kind of a cab chat too, in the Army truck Jeep thing. And we just about quit doing the cab chats. I enjoyed it. Y'all's more than mine. And if I don't get distracted, off track, if I don't get off track, maybe I can get this out. Where I grew up, or where I wanted to grow up, between Arkansas and Illinois, we kept moving back and forth. We'd make a little money, or they'd make a little money. Mom and Pa would move back to Arkansas where we could live. And then when we got broke and wanted to eat regular, we moved back up north, and they all got jobs. But anyway, back and forth. I always called Leslie, which is Chief Wiley's Cove, is what it really is, but they consecrated it to be called Leslie after Samuel Leslie. That's what they named it. Anyway, this little town that I've called my hometown has got a person, a man, an individual that walks the streets, pretty regular. You can see him pretty regular there. I haven't not seen him, but I've got reports from all different people saying that this is true. This feller walks the streets, head held high. Sometimes he's reading a book, sometimes he's doing something else, but he doesn't bother nobody. He just walks the little sidewalks, the sidewalks that are there. And when there isn't a sidewalk, he walks in the road like everybody else would. So that's not weird in itself, but when you add that he's got a table balanced on his head, and not an end table, kind of a breakfast table. It's a pretty good sized table. He's got this table balanced on his head, and on the table is a full set of dishes and usually a meal and a cup of coffee. on his head on the table in Leslie walking around town like that. And if I can, I'll get some video of this. And my sister's out. She's going to get some pictures of it next time she sees him. And he's had, you can imagine the people come up to him to ask him about this stuff. And he's very, very belligerent on talking to people. And you might guess that. And even come to fisticuffs with one of the town's best, and politely whooped him, and then put the table back on his head, adjusted his clothes, and went on his way. So that is weird to me. Your guess as good as me what he's doing and why he's doing it. So that was weird. And we'll get you some film if I can get up there. Boy, it's hard for me to get up there because it takes over an hour to get there from here. And it's straight uphill and all that. I don't know. It's just one of them mental things, I think. People get set in their ways and they're hard to move. Gerald Preddy's daddy, if I could remember his name, Mr. Preddy, he wouldn't go. The next town above where he lived was called Harrison. It's a pretty good sized little burg. And he'd go there every little bit to do this and do that. And as soon as they put a stoplight, one of them red caution green lights up there, as soon as they put one of them up in town, he quit going because he was afraid of it. He's afraid he wouldn't know how to get through it, even though he's a pretty bright guy. He wouldn't go to town after that. So I guess you can call that a weird little deal. Howard Preddy. Yeah. Also the site of one of the not a horrific, but a sad time. His prize mule, which a guy gets attached to stuff, whether it's a mule or a dog or, a pair of underwear, you get attached to it. And this poor thing had gotten into the fence and got wallowed around and got turned downhill. And pretty much if you get one of these rascals, I think even a horse will drown if they get laid downhill. And the poor thing is just on his last 4 or 5 breaths. And we got there and we were consoling Howard because it was just like a part of his family dying. And the poor thing was cut up, and you can imagine the sight of the poor thing. And they were consoling that, and of course I was consoling the darn mule, and boy, I felt so sad. And it finally passed away, and that stuck with me. And I've seen people, pass away and things like that, but that was the first that I'd witnessed something like that. So, that I'll always remember that. But anyway, that wasn't the weird part. Here's another weird one. Back in the 50s, some people down here had a choice of either spending their money on a vehicle or buying a TV. It was pretty close to the same price there for a while. And I guess the rich would do that. And so there's a pretty good smattering of black and white TVs around Searcy County. And I was told by several other people that, when we got our TV, Mama always, when we shut it off, Mama always draped a tea towel or a dish towel or something over the front of it. And so it wouldn't watch us. That's what I kind of got from these people. And they are afraid that the TV could see them when it wasn't playing. So they put a towel or something over it. And I thought that was kind of odd and strange, but, and I know there's no way for it to do that in my head. And now the other day, my neighbor come up. He said he went to a new store in Conway where Marianne works, and I used to work. And they had these Sammy's somewhere, some kind of TV. And said that they'd been on the news and other places that they can turn it on and see you through this TV, through this certain brand of TVs. And I quizzed him at length, and he said even the cameras on your laptop or your computer that's got a camera on it, I guess on the monitor, if you got a fancy monitor, said they can turn them things on and watch you. And I thought that was hearkening back to the 50s. If that's true, and I'm thinking it might be more true to it now than it was back in the other days, then, that's strange. And of course, I don't do nothing in front of my TV's not hooked up to anything but a VHS player and a CD player, so they're going to have heck trying to figure out how to get in my TV, because I don't watch TV. I watch movies and CDs and tapes and stuff. But there's one in the living room that Marianne and my grandchild Chloe watches. So all they're going to see is a bunch of cats and dogs wrestling, and Marianne playing her game on her phone, and Chloe texting on the couch to her friends. And that's about it. That's all they're going to see. And I hope they got better sense to waste their time doing that. But I don't know. There was a TV show on TV where everything was all connected and they could look at everybody and things. And so who knows about that weird stuff? It's all different to me. Okay, that's the two weird things. Now I'll tell you, I will give this over. Maybe I can tell it fast enough. There I was, a young man of 14, 15, somewhere in there between 20 and 30. And I was fishing at night on the Rock River. And I like fishing at night. I would still fish at night if I could fish. But it's more exciting at night. And you never know what you're going to bring out of that black water. So there I was sitting there cross-legged like an Indian on top of my tackle box, which is what I was. You don't sit on the ground. Sit on your tackle box cross-legged. I got my pole in the water. And when you're fishing at night, if you don't have a big fire or a flashlight to check your line whenever you're getting a bite, they sell these little copper bells or jingly things, and you clip them on the end of your pole out there on the end, and when you get a bite, that thing goes tinky, 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 and you go, hey, I got a fish bite. And so you set the hook and bring the rascal in. Well, I had, at the beginning of the evening, I had like 2 of these things. And the current in this little river was pretty swift, so I had to have a sinker on my line, which I hate fishing with sinkers. And it would bring your line in, and you'd have to reel it in and reset your bait, and then throw it back out in the middle of the river, and then you could wait on it to come back in. It would stay out there for 20 minutes maybe. Well, after I reset my bait 2 or 3 different times, of course I throwed all them tinky linky linky things out when I casted it back. I forgot to take them off. They went tinky 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 plop, both of them. So I throwed it out again, and I just hooked my finger on the line down there by the reel, and that would tell me anyway. That's what I usually do anyways, feel of the line. I was sitting there feeling of the line, and here comes some lights down the river. It's a blue light and it's a green light. And they're under the water about a foot. And it's a muddy river. But it is lighting up the whole underneath. These two lights coming down through the river. And they're under the water. And I could see them for quite a ways. And then they come by the bank and then they swoof back out in the middle and tuck off. And I'm going, what in the world was that? So was that some kind of a midget submarine? No, not in this rock river. So it ain't deep enough for a submarine or anything like that. So well, could it have been a UFO? Because my thinking at the time, I was watching TV as a young man, and they had this show from England, of course, of UFO. The name of it was UFO, and they had all this stuff. Maybe y'all seen it. And I remembered on that show that the UFOs was made of a material that deteriorated. That means it went to Memphis, fell apart in Earth's atmosphere, so most of them got under the water and hid. And I'm going, was this a close encounter of that UFO thing? It didn't make much sense. But I couldn't explain it. And I didn't tell anybody nothing, and it didn't really set my hair up on their end when I had hair. So I didn't really count it as a UFO, but I didn't discount it. So probably 30 years after that, I figured out what it was. They've got these round balls for night fishing, and they got a light in them. They got blue ones and green ones and probably red ones. I don't know what kind of colors they have. But they use them for night fishing. And they throw them out like a bobber. They watch them like a bobber, I guess. And they got these balls and stuff. And when something takes off with it, you set the hook and you reel that rascal in. Well, that's what I saw. I'm positive that's what I saw. Two of them little bobbers, zizzing around and scaring the populace. Well, scaring this populace. And I'm pretty sure that's what it was. They had something either on the line or the sinkers was dragging it under in the current. So they wasn't bobbing up in the air. They were under the water, and that it lit several feet of water. It lit around it, just kind of glowed real cool, like, and that added to the eerie ideas of it. So that was a 4 2 1. I don't know, a few weird things for Wierd Wednesday. If y'all got a Wierd Wednesday story, please Wierd Wednesday me, because I'm just sitting there twiddling my fingers. And if you know how bad my fingers are, you know I can't twiddle long. Can you still cross your fingers? This is it. And if I try to bend them, ooh, it hurts. I can do this one this way. I can't cross my fingers. So that stops me from lying. That's a good thing. Okay, I'm going to let y'all go. And I love y'all. And y'all take care of each other. And, think about this Wierd Wednesday stuff. Who knows? Okay. Bye-bye.